You are listening to Random Gameplay Pimpin'.
What is going down? What is going down? This is your boy, Studio MacGyver, and you are listening to Random Gameplay Pimpin'. If you're into anime, nerd culture, and most importantly, video games, guess what? You come to the right place because we talk about all of that shit here. This is podcast episode number 440, and a lot of things have transpired, guys. A lot of things have taken place, and I want to break some of the stuff down. I want to talk about some games that I missed, because we had a lot going on last week. Okay, we had the Summer's Game Fest, we had Sony State of Play. So I want to talk a little bit about some games that kind of slipped under the radar that I kind of want to talk about a little bit. And then we also have some Xbox to discuss. And last but not least, we're going to go into Nintendo because they had a direct. And guys, I'm going to just tell you, it was very disappointing. Okay, so we're going to get into all of that. And so no anime watch list this week. I haven't watched any. Like I said, I've been busy. My wife was out of town this past week, so I had the kids, and I have a 5-year-old, and I wasn't able to do a damn thing, okay? But watch certain things. And even then, I was kind of confined to my phone because she just took over completely. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. Let's begin. And I want to start with the games that I missed. Now, this does not mean that there are other games that are out there that, should have been, talked about or whatever. There are, okay? These aren't all the games. There's really no way you could catch them all. It would take me forever if I went over every last single game. But these are the games that I'm bringing up that I want to play, that I would eventually add to the library. So if there's games that you said or you may have had on your mind and they're not mentioned, then that's your reason why. But anyway, this is the stuff that I kind of, got past me. And I want to, talk a little bit about these games. The first game that I missed, well, I didn't even say missed, but there was just so many things going on. But this one is, I think, on a lot of people's list, and this is Exodus. Now, Exodus is the game, I think I mentioned it last week a little bit, but this is the game from the company who made the Mass Effect series, right? The beloved Mass Effect series. And these guys are doing their own thing over here with Exodus. And there's some extensive gameplay out there for you guys to go check out if you haven't seen it or if it slipped by you as well. And you should check it out. It definitely looks promising. It definitely looks like something I'm going to play. If you are a fan of Mass Effect in general, then you should definitely put this game on your radar. I don't know any other information about this game or when it comes out. It's not coming out this year. I'm guessing 2027 sometime, if we're lucky. And so I'll keep you guys posted on that. But yeah, definitely check out some gameplay. And it's coming along nicely. I mean, what I've seen, it looks to be, a game that is going to come out in next year, and it should be a definite purchase. So check that one out if you are interested. Next game on the list, guys, is Crazy Taxi World Tour. I want to say I mentioned this one briefly as well last week, but in case I didn't, I wanted to make sure I got this one. I didn't see it in my notes. And I'm a huge Crazy Taxi fan from, if you guys don't know that this game was like a huge thing at the arcades, and then it went to Dreamcast. And it still holds up. The Dreamcast version still holds up to this day, like right now. So it's just an amazing game, fun game. And this new World Tour is adding some things, of course. You got the same protagonist, the same character from the OG Crazy Taxi, which is also awesome. And I'm interested to see what else they're going to add to this, but it's going to be a good time, guys, and it's definitely going to be one to add to the library for sure. All right, here's a game that I have found myself playing this. I probably play this once a year. I try to play this once a year, and it still holds up, and it's just an awesome game, especially if you're a fan of the series. Now, and this is one of those games where even if you're not a fan of the series and you know nothing about it, you can pick this game up. You can learn the mechanics and how everything works, and you could really have a blast playing it. And it's really just an addictive gameplay loop, in my opinion. And this game is Attack on Titan 3. I'm a huge Attack on Titan fan. Love the anime, one of my top 5 all-time anime. And this series is dope, right? I have the second one, and I'm ashamed because I don't even have the DLC. And the reason I don't have the DLC to that one, which I want because it's an awesome DLC, is the fact that I was still playing the core game. Like, it's just so much to unlock, so much to do in that game. The replay value on that game is ridiculous. I still haven't done everything in that game, and every year I go back to that game and I play. You create your own character. You're out there in the universe, and I'm a Levi fan, so you know what I mean. Say what you want to say, but this really excited me. The graphics looked a little different. Looks like a different approach, and I'm interested to see what this one brings to the table. Now, I'm assuming that because it's the third one and the series is over now, that everything is complete, right? So all the characters and all that will be available. And I hope that all the DLC and everything from the other games are going to be on this as well. So if that's the case, then I'm all in for it. I'm still going to look into it. We'll get more information on this as time progresses. But this is definitely a purchase for me. I love Attack on Titan, and I love the games. And so this will be an easy buy for me when it comes out. Now, I don't know if it's going to be day one. It depends on what's going on, when they have this for release and what else is out there. And what I typically do is, I try to keep myself at the most. I'm trying to cut back on games, okay? Even as far as buying one every month, maybe every other month if I can. But there's some games, some months that come up. You guys know we're approaching that time now where every month is a banger. And September has like 2 or 3, maybe even 4 bangers in that one month. So, you know what I mean? So some games you don't buy that month, you buy the next month, and so on and so forth. So depending on what's coming out is when I'll be buying this game. Hopefully it's a dry month and I can pick it up. You know what I mean? If not, I'll wait for another dry month. And I'll definitely add this to the library though, because yes, if you know about Attack on Titan, guys, in the games, then you already know how awesome this thing is. I could cut necks forever. Okay, that's how dope it is. And I didn't get a chance to do the DLC, and I would have loved to use the guns and do all that. But I'm excited for this. So yeah. So now maybe I should just go off and not even worry about the DLC for 2, and just focus on 3. So that'll definitely give me some high hopes. But we'll see, because they're different games too. So they're not linked per se. So I really can't wait to see and find out more about this game. But anyway, I've been rambling. Let's move on to the last game on this list. And that game is Blood Message. Now, I don't know why or how I missed this, but, sometimes what they would do is they would come out with a game. They would, the Game Fest wouldn't show it because they have a certain amount of time allotted for these slots. And then what they would do is, oh, you get this, that would come out, or you would get that would come out, or they would give you an extended gameplay trailer for this. And so they did a lot of that for a lot of these games. And Blood Message was one of those games. And it was like a 20-minute video, okay, and demonstrating, kind of what the game entails. And it had that same camera angle that God of War had. If you remember God of War, the 1 and 2, where it's just slightly behind the protagonist, and it's just a real intimate kind of camera angle, and it gives you a nice insight on the world that you're in. And they're doing it with this game. The game is really about a father and son traveling, I think 1,000 miles to deliver something. That's the premise, but there's more to it. But it looks good. It looks awesome, actually, to be honest with you. And this is a day one for me. Blood Message. The combat in this is just the realest combat that I have seen. I can't remember seeing combat that looked this real. I can't think of a game right now. The combat on here is crazy good. It's so realistic. You'd have to check it out. But the stumbling, the animations on things, and even the realism when you have 2-on-1, you're not going to easily take out these guys. You're going to have to struggle. You're going to have to figure out ways. And it makes sense that if 2 guys are at you or swinging on you at one time, you're going to struggle your ass off with that and trying to maneuver around that type of stuff. So they really emphasize a lot of that realism in the combat in this, and the world building in this is also awesome. Okay, it reminds me of kind of like a Plague's Tale. I don't know. I know it's not that, but it gave me that vibe, if that makes sense. So yeah, man, a lot of people have been talking about this game, and rightfully so. It looks very promising, and it's definitely the story looks like it's going to be really good too. So if you got both gameplay and story combined, it's a chef's kiss. Like God of War did that beautifully, and that's what made God of War so special, because not just of the action, but because of the story, right? And you have both of those together, like united. You can't lose with that combination, and I think they've done that with Blood Message. And like I said, day one for me, from what I saw, you guys should check out the trailer if you have not, and I would like to know how you guys feel about that. Another game that I want to talk about a little bit is it was technically, this is the last game I'm talking about on the list, but Fable. Okay, you guys, if you've been listening to me, you know I love the Fable series. I go way back with the Fable series, played all the Fable games. In the heyday of Xbox, that was my go-to game. And this game here, they just recently put out a trailer for Fable. And it's about a 30-minute trailer, I want to say. And it was beautiful. It was awesome. And it made me want to play it that much more. They went in depth with the systems that they have implemented in this game. And they have a lot of like relationships and a bunch of things, from relationships to the job system, buying things, buying homes, buying businesses, and how that works. You could buy a business, and upon buying a business, he realized that, hey, I need help here, and there's an open slot. And so earlier in the game, he was talking to this guy who was down on his luck. He was out there, in the street, and he was trying to get money, any way he could. And he was a friendly guy. So he said, you know what? I think I know a guy. And he went out there and he said, would you like a job? And he plugged him in there and he put him in there. So now he's got his workers at his pub, and everything's going well. And everything is purchasable as well. He bought a house in this game. He could also, get mansions and things of that nature. So there's scales to this. Also, as far as the relationships went, and some in the game, you could court women, right? And certain women would have certain things that they would look for before they would actually consider courting you, which one in particular wanted a guy to have a decent stature about himself. So he had to, be a homeowner. He had to, maybe own a business or something like that. So he went out and did all that. He even went out and got a job at a blacksmith, which was awesome as well. So there's so many things in this game that I'm excited for. I'm excited to get money. I'm excited to build an empire, so to speak, and not just in the empire, but also a reputation. And that was what made Fable so awesome to me, besides the world building, because the world building in this is probably my favorite in any video game ever, right? I love the Japanese culture. I love the Japanese games, and I love when I get to explore those things, and that's probably my next in line. But if anything was to trump that, it would be the Fable universe and just the aesthetics of that world. And I mean, they left no crumbs, in my opinion. So I'm really excited to play Fable. I was really disappointed that it didn't come out this year and they pushed it, and I understand why they pushed it for GTA purposes, but February 2027 is on my mark list, and I'm playing this. I am going in, okay, when Fable comes out. So you guys need to check it out. If you haven't seen it, check it out. And I heard some people talking about it. I was listening to ACG's podcast the other day, and they were talking about how they hope that, the game doesn't solely weigh on the fact that, you getting money can dictate the whole entire game. Okay, because let's just say, okay, you go farm a whole bunch of money, because in Fable, they also said that you can pretty much throw money at a situation and you could change your whole fate. And so they begin to, talk about that and kind of explore that and say, well, I hope that's not the end all be all, because then everybody's just going to, get rich, and then it's going to be a cheat code, right? And I think that they understand this. I think that they know this, and I think there's going to be certain things that they put in the game as to where that's not going to be everything. And it's Fable. It's an RPG. So, I mean, that's one aspect of the game, in my opinion. It's not the whole thing. There's going to be other things you have to do, things you're going to, people or beings or whatever's out there in that universe that you're going to have to go against, and money's not going to save you either. So, and you also saw something in the system where, sometimes having money and having this stuff doesn't affect certain people and certain things. Some people actually look down or frown upon you, and because they feel that you have your nose up in the air, and they feel that, you are of a different ilk because you have this money, right? So hopefully they have that implemented in this game. And yes, it will allow you a lot of different things when you do have money, just like in any universe or any world. But at the same time, it's not going to save you from everything. So hopefully they have that and they're able to implement that in this game. I'm really looking forward to it. Either way, Fable is definitely high on my list, if not the highest of upcoming games. And this is definitely a day one for me. And I can't wait. Now, one other game that I want to talk about real quick is a game that wasn't shown. And I'm surprised I missed this. And it was just so much going on, so many games that were coming out. And let's keep it real. Summer Game Fest, this most recent one, was a banger. So I kind of got lost in that and forgot all about this game from Sony. All right. And this game is Intergalactic. And after all the smoke blew over, everybody was talking about where's Intergalactic. And people began to worry about it because, let's be real, I mean, you would think that if you were going to show it, and I thought that they were going to show something about this, the gameplay, something, guys, but we got nothing. We got nothing. So I don't know what Sony is doing over there. I don't know what these guys are doing as far as their lineup or how they were going to do this, or if they're even going to show this game this year. I mean, yes, we're halfway done with the year, and I hope that we get something on this. I hope we get another state of play, in the next 90 days, about this and where they're at with the game. But right now, I'm a little nervous because they didn't show this. They're just keeping a quiet demeanor about this game. I know they have some things coming out, but it's just, as the years progress, less and less games are starting to come out, guys, the first party games. All right. And so it's making me a little nervous. I understand that games are getting more and more complex and they take time to cook now. And that's kind of the bad thing about them, is that they take a lot of time to cook now. On average, a game is going to take 5 years to bake in the oven before it comes out. So, and then the money that goes behind these games as well is crazy. So we're talking about movie budgets, okay, even more than movie budgets for a lot of these games. So I understand that, but it doesn't make it hurt any less, is what I'm saying. So I don't know what's going on with Intergalactic. Hopefully we get some new information, and we'll see, man. And just a lot when it comes to this company, they polarizing. That's the only word I can come up with, because you either love them or you hate them. And and most people love them. Let's just keep it real. If you're just looking for a good story and a good experience, a gameplay experience, then you're going to enjoy what these guys put out. You just are. And, that's what they're known for, right? And they've always been known for. Even the people who hate them or hate on them, a lot of it is out of passion, but you can't mistake the fact that these guys know what they're doing as far as when they put a game together, whether you are, a fan of The Last of Us 2 or not. That controversy that's around that game, which I still don't understand to this day, it's one of my all-time favorite games, period. And I don't give a fuck who feels any different. If you don't like it, I could give two shits. Just move on, man. I mean, that's what it's about. But I understand, like, if you have a bone to pick with the company or a game, go ahead and do that. But then after that, just move on, right? Don't continue to harp on something. You made your point. It's cool. Let's move on, right? It should be as simple as that, but most people can't do that. So it is what it is. But anyway, I'm looking forward to it. Yes, there are some things that I agree with when it comes to some of the moves and some of the decisions that they make in some of their games. But that's almost every game. You know what I mean? So yeah, the ball-headed protagonist, I'm not a fan of that. I don't know why that is there. I'm sure they'll explain that, but I'm mainly looking for a good story. And let's just keep it real. Naughty Dog has a track record of producing great stories and great games. So for people who are bitching about their said game, if you want to just go to stats, look at the sales. Okay, the game sold tremendously. And then if you want to go even further, you can just say, well, look at their track record, right? Until they prove me wrong, I'm going to keep buying their games. And you know what I mean? Now, if they put out a shit game, then you have reason to judge and maybe doubt, what the next project might be. But as far as I'm concerned, everything they've pretty much put out has been pretty fucking good. And so until they prove that otherwise, I'm going to continue to buy their games. And that's for any team, right? Gen Design is another team that I absolutely adore and will always buy their games. Okay, Eco, Shadow of the Colossus, The Last Guardian. That's just one of my favorite dev teams out there. So I'm going to buy their shit. And until they prove otherwise, I'm going to continue to do that. They'd have to drop, 3 eggs in a row for, me to say, oh shit, I'm done, maybe done. And that's never going to happen. But anyway, plus they take too fucking long to make games. But anyway, that's another story. All right, that's that out of the way. Let's move on and let's talk about the future of Xbox a little bit, because there's been a lot of stuff going on with Microsoft, guys. We got more layoffs coming down the pipeline. Rumor has it it's going to be around 1,000 people that are going to be let go. That's not a good thing. That's never a good thing. And the reason why they're doing this is because Xbox has decided to renege and go back, just like Sony, and say, you know what, we're going to keep our exclusives. We want our exclusives to stay here. And with Xbox doing that, they're going to be taking a significant amount of damage, because that was a big piece of their profit, because Sony was selling a lot of shit for them, and that's gonna not happen anymore if they're gonna take their games back. So to kind of counteract that, they have to lay people off, right? And so that's what they're gonna be doing. And like I said, guys, this Xbox situation is really starting to get crazy. And I say that because other things have come out about Microsoft and what their next move is. They hired the new CEO. I forgot her name, Sharma, I think that is what her name is. But they hired her. She's saying she's going to do a turnaround. She's saying by 2030, things should definitely be completely flipped and going well for Xbox. And, I just I don't believe that necessarily, because what games are coming out within the next 4 years, really 3.5 years now, that is going to make that stick. They must have some stuff lined up, because I don't see it, right? I don't see it. But there have been slight changes made since she's been there, and a lot of people have liked it. And so I guess that's a step in the right direction. But as far as everything else, it's kind of a wait and see type of situation. But right now, if I had to say anything, I'm going to say it doesn't look too good. They also talked about outsourcing their next console. Okay, so in other words, Xbox will make a certain number, but they will give other third-party companies, the ability to build their version of the Project Helix machine. So it still runs all the Helix games and everything like that. It's just their version of it, right? And so that it would cut some of the costs for manufacturing. Like, that's one thing they've been exploring. And then another thing that, they've been looking at is a possible sell-off of Xbox. In other words, Microsoft separating itself from the Xbox brand and saying, look, we have taken too many L's. We've lost too much money. We're hemorrhaging over here. That's not what we're about at Microsoft. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the Xbox brand and we're going to sell it off. Right, we're going to separate ourselves and make Xbox its own thing now. So it will no longer be associated with Microsoft anymore. It will just be Xbox. And so then they will kind of leave it to the masses to take over and do whatever you want with it, because it's not ours anymore. Right. And so if you guys don't understand what Microsoft is as a company, Xbox to them is basically just a small, minute division of their entire company. Right. In other words, if Xbox went down in flames, it's really not going to hurt Microsoft as a whole, because Microsoft is a huge company in retrospect, and they make billions of dollars. OK, so this is just a hindrance for them, technically, is what it is. This is just something that they wanted to get into years ago, and they had some success. And now they're seeing that the tides have turned a little bit. And now the money, and if you're going over the books, millions of dollars is still millions of dollars. OK, even if to you it's just a drop in the bucket, because the whole goal of a company is to make money. And they're finally starting to see that this isn't going anywhere now. And this is that kid that they have that won't stop drinking and won't stop doing drugs and keeps on fucking up. And they're getting tired of putting them up and watching them repeat the same mistakes over and over again. OK, it's the equivalency to that. And I think that's what's happening here. And so now they're like, you know what? We may have to just have to cut you out, man. You know what I mean? You can't do right. So I think this is Xbox's last ditch effort to try to salvage something of value and show Microsoft that we can play with the big boys and we can continue to do what we used to do. And we just didn't have the right leadership. But we'll see, because they've been making a lot of bad mistakes, buying up all these companies, not doing anything with them. I mean, with all this money, you would think that they would be able to put together a few, comparable IPs and make it work, and they haven't been able to do it. And everybody's so stuck on this, live service bullshit, and multiple companies have lost money, Sony included, has lost millions of dollars doing the same shit, and you see where it's getting you. They need to stop with that gambling and just put together decent studios and let them work, let them cook, right? Mind your business, let them cook, let the gamers cook. Stop sticking your nose in your business like you're Vince McMahon. Just let them cook and do their thing and produce, Hire the right people, get them in there, and put some shit together, all right? And don't let it have to be a live service game. Everything doesn't have to fucking be live service to get your money. So that's my opinion on it. Hopefully they take heed and they actually do this, because they have no other choice. If they continue the same path, Xbox will be no more, It will be something else. And who knows, maybe that might be a good thing. Maybe they sell this shit off, and maybe the person or people who finally get their hands on Xbox, who doesn't have money like Microsoft has and can't afford to fuck up like that and just throw money into the air and watch it disintegrate. Maybe they, use it the right way and spend their money smart and make great games. And maybe that just completely changes the game. Who knows? Maybe this is something that we need. And so we'll see, man. Only time will tell. That's what I think. So it is what it is. Now, after this, let's go ahead and move down and let's talk about this Nintendo Direct. It was very disappointing, in my opinion, guys. Very disappointing. Borderline trash, if you ask me. And I'm going to say it now, and I've seen some people talking about it. Nintendo, in my opinion, has finessed their Switch 2 owners. If you own a Nintendo Switch 2, the warm butter has definitely been put on the counter, and it has been used. And it has been used thoroughly on you. I don't care what you say. I don't care how you feel. I don't care how you try to deny it. You were handled. Nintendo came in, kicked in your house, kicked in your door while you were sleeping. You woke up stunned. You didn't know what to do, and you were hit over the head. Your garments were removed, and they took that tub of butter, they stuck it in the microwave, they warmed it up, they let it liquefy, they pulled it out, they put their tips into that warm butter, and then they did strange things to your person and to the night. That's what Nintendo has done. That's what I feel Nintendo has done to all of their owners when it comes to the Switch 2. They fucked you. You were finessed. You were played, no pun intended. And they just have not shown me personally anything that warrants a purchase. All they're doing is raising their prices like everyone else, and it's not worth it, in my opinion, right now. It's just not. Now I'm going to talk about some things that came out at the Direct. They did have Xenoblade. Xenoblade is one of their flagship IPs, which is a great IP. I will give them credit for that. The Xenoblade Genesis. So that is coming out. I want to say in 2027 is what they were talking about. So you have that, but then we get into this other shit. We get into Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. Fire Emblem is another one of their IPs that is pretty popular. It's not a system seller by any stretch of the imagination, but it still is a solid IP, especially if you're into RPGs, right? They're known for those. And the problem with this is, guys, the game is going to be $80, $70 digital. So this is what a lot of people have a problem with Nintendo. These bonehead moves with these prices and some of the things that they're doing, right? I know I have a problem with it. It's ridiculous. It is. And why are you making someone pay that for physical? And first, I need to know, is this game completely on the cartridge? Because if it's not, why am I paying this for a physical? And most of their games, let's keep it real, they're not fitting on that disc anymore. They're not allowing these games. It's rare occurrences that you'll see that, this game is going to be on the cartridge completely. But that's a rare thing now. And that's what Nintendo is about, in my opinion. Part of the joy and part of the charm with Nintendo is, being able to get these games, take them on the go, and, having the game on the cartridge, not worrying about downloads and being connected to the internet to play these things. Or else, why would you even create this hardware where you have a cartridge where you can insert the cartridge, and you're not doing that, right? You're just not. And the problem is, a lot of people who are Switch owners, which there are a lot of them. There's like 155 million people out here who own a Switch 1, that they're looking at this and saying it's not worth upgrading. It's not worth getting this. I'll just continue to collect the cartridges for the Switch 1 and just keep it moving, right? And Nintendo's starting to see this now. They're starting to notice this. That's why they're not going to abandon the Switch 1 market like a lot of people thought they were going to try to do. Just distance themselves from that. No, they can't afford to do that, because there's a lot of people who think like I think now when it comes to the Switch, and it's like, it's not it, right? And so I bought a Steam Deck instead of a Switch. I was at a crossroads, and I said, I got this money. I want to get the console. And I said, what, let me hold off, because I've always also wanted a Steam Deck, and let me just do a deep dive. And so I did that. And I dove into Steam, and I dove into all of that and the pluses and minuses and everything. And same thing with Nintendo. And overwhelmingly, the Steam Deck won. It did. It won. And even now, I mean, I'm so happy that I went in that direction, especially now with all these super price hikes for this Steam Deck, okay? Because they fucking are pulling out butter everywhere. Steam has butter in every store. They have in your convenience stores, 7-Elevens. Their butter is spread across the galaxy, okay? Because almost $300 price hike for these damn Steam Decks is ridiculous. Okay. And so I feel almost blessed because I was grandfathered in and I got it at a decent price, and now you can't do it. So I'm glad that's why I made that decision. But now now Nintendo's looking like the cheapest route. Like, oh, well, I can get a Switch now because it's the cheapest thing out right now. Okay. Even at $500, it's the cheapest thing out right now. So even as much as I hate what Nintendo's doing right now in this current stretch with the Switch 2, it's almost unavoidable. You can't deny that. You can't tell somebody, well, I got $500 and I'm on a console. I mean, shit, what else are you going to do? You can't get a Sony. You can't get an Xbox. You can't get a Steam Deck, right? The only thing left on the table is Nintendo. So, I mean, I guess if that's what you want to do, it depends on a lot of things, in my opinion, too. It also depends on what other systems do you have, or if any, okay? If you have a Sony already or an Xbox already, which a lot of us already do, then I would not waste my time with the Switch unless you just wanted to have it, because everything else that they pretty much have now and that they showed at this Direct was third party, okay? Everything else is already out, has already been out, and is a better rendition of that for the most part, okay? They may give you a game that comes out later, and because it came out later, they have the advantage of saying, okay, all the DLC is included too. And that's really the only advantage you're going to get. As far as me being a consumer, I look at Nintendo like, I'm just not happy with downloading games on that. Okay, that's what a Steam Deck is for. That's what something else is for, these other ones. I looked at Nintendo as, hey man, I buy these games physical, they're on the cart, and I'm good. Like, that really bothers me. So it's really hard for me to accept Nintendo and accept the things that they're doing, the business practices, especially with the cartridge and the fake cartridges that they got out here, which aren't even real. Like, I don't like that. And the predatory price hikes on a lot of these games, $80 for this fucking Fire Emblem game, that type of stuff I frown down upon. And the fact that I have a Switch 1 and still have games that I would like to add to that library is keeping me at bay. And I'm saying, you know what? No, I'm not dealing with the Switch 2 right now. Plus, the Switch 2 has no games to make me say, oh, where's the system seller at? That's the next thing I want to say. Well, where's the system seller at? There's not one. There's not a game here. And the last game on this list that I want to talk about is, let me segue into it, is Ocarina of Time, the remake, right? They showed us a brief trailer, which, if you can call it a trailer, okay, of Link sleeping. And that's it. And they said the game's coming out in 2026. And this is what I'm talking about. They said the game's coming out in 2026. We're already halfway done with the year, and you have no fucking gameplay to show. And this is a Nintendo Direct. So just bad, in my opinion, bad decision making. And a lot of people are turning their head like, what the fuck is Nintendo doing? And I'm not really so high on the graphics either. I have to see more. That's what I'm saying. I have to see more because I'm a huge Ocarina of Time fan. That's what's so crazy. I have the original on the Nintendo 64. I have the version on the 3DS. Okay, So I love the game. My favorite Zelda, probably my favorite Zelda game. It is, but it's still not a system seller for me. Okay, I want to see some new shit. And I want to see more on this. I don't even know. If I'm sold on this. If I'm being honest. But where's the new Mario game? Where's the new Zelda game? The new one, completely from the ground up. Where's that shit? Right? Those are what I'm looking for. Okay, where's some of your other IPs that you had? I need to see more. Astro Chain. These type of games. Where are these at? I need to see something. But right now, so far, nothing. Okay, Star Fox. Okay, it's okay. There's actually a demo out you can play now with it. And I talked to my friend who was a big Star Fox fan, and he downloaded it, and he said something's off about it to him. It doesn't, because that was going to be his next purchase. He has a Switch too, and he was, saying that. And he's told me, like, look, man, I mean, it's okay, but it's not, it's not what I thought it was going to be when I was buying it. And that's what a lot of Nintendo fans feel like when it comes to the Switch 2 right now, especially if you are a gamer and you own multiple systems. If you bought the Switch 2 because it's a Nintendo, and you just, I'm buying it because Nintendo's, their games. They're gonna put out their version, and they're gonna have bangers. But where are they? That's what most people are asking. Where are the bangers? Okay, and that's it. It's just they haven't produced enough right now for me, and it's just where it is. And like I said, Stellar Blade is coming. That's a plus. It's like I said, it's a plus if you don't have any other system. Okay, so if you're just a Nintendo fan and you're okay, that's cool for you. That's cool for you. But most people, when it comes to Stellar Blade, we already have it. I already have Stellar Blade and a better rendition of that on top of that. So it's not, it's nothing, that I'm worried about. But that's what I'm saying. Okay, they have a particular market, and you look. Some people were saying, I love the Nintendo Direct. You know what I mean? Hey, if that's how you feel, man, hey, more power to you. I'm not here to shit on your parade. I'm just here to tell you how I feel about it, and why I am disappointed, and why I have an issue with what Nintendo's doing right now, and why I don't have one right now. Because I really wanted to support Nintendo with this, but they've been doing a lot of greasy shit lately, and I just can't support it. I can't get behind it. And until that changes, I'm not going to be spending the money on that shit. Okay. The only way I would spend money on that is my son. That's it. If he says, Dad, I for Christmas, that's what I want. Okay. And that's it. And it would hurt me to do that. $500, man. So I don't know. It is what it is. That's my thought. That's how I feel about it, guys. And I'll leave it at that. Yeah. Like I said, I'll say this for the last time. If you don't own any other game systems and you want a system, and you kind of your cash is a little light, I the only thing you could technically buy right now is a Switch. That's the cheapest thing you can buy. And then still, even when you buy the Switch for $500, you have to play some games, right? So you got to buy those. So depending on how new or how old the game is, if it's third party, you might be able to get it for a decent price. But but if it's not, Nintendo is known for these prices, these crazy prices. Okay, even Switch 1 games are still ridiculous pricing, depending on what you're trying to get. So I mean, you're pretty fucked no matter how you look at it. And I'll say this, and this will be the last thing I say. And this is something that irritates the shit out of me when people talk about prices on stuff. They don't mention the complete price. When you say $499.99, that's not the price. Okay, that's not the complete price. You're not paying $500. You're paying $550. Okay, you are. So when you see these prices on these Steam decks, this is going to be $879. I'm like, what? It's not $879. It's $975 after taxes. Okay, give me the entire price, because that's a game. That's something that's I'm gonna get a game. No, you're not, because you're gonna be paying taxes on that, and that's your game. It's gone. So let's just stop that. But anyway, that's a side tangent thing. That's gonna do it for me, guys. I'm gonna get out of here. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you're new to the podcast, please consider subscribing. We do this every week, every Monday. Where podcasts are listened to, Spotify, wherever you listen to your shows, guys, it's there. And then on YouTube, every Wednesday, I will be uploading these episodes. So be looking out for that as well. That being said, that's going to do it. I love you guys dearly, all my OG listeners. I will see you guys next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. This is your boy, Studio MacGyver, and you have been listening to Random Gameplay Pimpin'. See you next time.